So traditionally, if you want to make any class property non-assignable outside of the class in PHP, the way that you can accomplish this is by making that property as private. So let's say we have this class called book and we have a private property, or we have a property called author. So we can make it private, and by making private we ensure that this property won't be assignable outside of the class. But we still want to make or instantiate the value of this property. So what we can do is we can instantiate this property inside the constructor, and when we create an object of this class and pass in the value, this will get assigned to this property. Okay, and if we try to assign a value directly to this property, and if we try to run it, this will throw in a fatal error that says cannot access private property. So that's fine, and we actually have accomplished our goal, that is we made the property non-assignable outside of the class. But this brings an issue, and the issue is you cannot actually access the property outside of the class. So if I try to do something like this, book author, and if I try to run this once again, it will still throw the same error that says cannot access private property book author. So what should we do now then? So to get around this, we can have a getter method for this particular property. So we can declare or define a public getter for this accessing this particular class property. So here is how this will look like. So we have a public getter method get author that will return us the private property author, and now we can access that value that we have assigned to the author class property. And if we run it once again, we'll get the value that we have assigned to the author property. Now this is fine, but with the introduction of PHP 8.1, we have now got something called read-only properties. So using read-only properties, we don't have to define getter for class properties. So let me show you how this works. So I will first remove the getter, and then I will make this as public, then it will be the read only. And when we are using the read only property, we need to type hint that particular property, so that is mandatory. And so that we will need to type hint, so we'll type it as string. So now we have a read only public property that can be accessed outside of the class. So now if we want to access this outside of the class, author, and if we run it once again, boom, we are still getting it, we are still able to access it outside of the class, all thanks to this read only property. But if we want to assign something to it, let's say rolling, and if we run it once again, we'll get this fatal errors that says you cannot modify read only property. So The conclusion is, using read-only properties, you can actually expose public class properties outside of the class without having the fear of uh, modifying these class properties. So that is one, or that is, there are few less getter methods in your class. So, and the main benefit of using these read-only properties is you can use this when you want to build data transfer objects. So what are data transfer objects? Data transfer objects are the objects that are used to transfer data between processes, and it is useful. The read-only properties are useful because in data transfer objects we are bound to not alter the class properties, and so in that case read-only properties come in really handy, and we now have it in PHP 8.1. So that's all about read-only properties in PHP 8.1. I hope you like this video, and if you do, consider subscribing to my channel, because this helps me a lot. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.